Hi, everyone. On behalf of all my colleagues in IGT, a very warm welcome to today's discussion. We're going to be talking about building future-ready data solutions. Joining me today are Kim, the Chief Information and Data Officer of IATA. We've got Whitney, the Head of Travel Vertical at Snowflake. And we've got Love, the Chief Architect and Head of Innovation at IGT Solutions. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So in the era of data dominance, the aviation industry requires platforms that are agile, secure, and forward-looking. This is what we're going to talk about today. We'll dive into one such example, IATA's new Gen DDS platform, built in partnership with IGT Solutions and powered by Snowflake. As you may know, Direct Data Solutions, DDS, as the industry knows it, provides carriers with easy access to a single global data set of airline sales, market, and itinerary data. We will understand how Snowflake's architecture empowers it and how GenAI is shaping the future of travel. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
What was the original problem that led IATA to invest in building the new Gen DDS? Over to you,
So
Kim.
I think, great, thanks, Carl. So I think as most aviation people have experienced, it was our increased outsourcing that caused us a lot of stress in the beginning. So, having outsourced your data, outsource your IP, and then as an organization or as an industry, we see the opportunities to insource a lot more of our data, to own our data, own our IP, and that was really where the forefront of New Gen DDS came. So as we, were underutilizing a lot of this data, we then obviously were seeing that airlines were struggling with fragmented sources. They wanted to do benchmarking against their peers, weren't quite sure how to do all of that. There was obviously lack in advanced analytical capabilities, obviously with the expansion of AI that also drove us to take a better look at how we were developing our DDS. So New Gen DDS was really launched to take this potential to the next level. So we saw huge opportunities to streamline all of the data requirements, to have a more robust offering that was a lot more around flexibility and agility. We also wanted to partner with strong strategic partners and to develop these capabilities where they fit best. Hence, obviously, the requirement for IGT as a key partner for that.
Now, Kim, building a multi-tenant analytic platform for sensitive airline passenger data and operational data is no small feat. What are the key challenges you encountered?
Yeah, so I think the first part is, as an organization, IATA obtains data on behalf of airlines with strict rules and the kind of governance around that data. So we as an organization need to make sure that we continuously make sure that it's a trusted tool. So for us, it's always been IATA is a trusted source of good data. We have that data given to us under strict permission from our airlines, and we need to obviously take care when doing that. So a lot of it was around data confidentiality. We've obviously spent around 18 months of building data governance, making sure that the contractual obligations are built into our system. So, and then secondly, performance. So as we've mentioned before, a lot of people expect dashboards to work instantaneously, expect data to be correct, quality of the data, accuracy of the data. And then obviously the more heavy the queries are, the more performance becomes a real kind of like turning point for us. So then obviously also with constantly evolving access rules. So we have a very strict governance process for DDS that we've put in place with very targeted airlines that attend on behalf of the industry to give us guidelines around which data to share with who, under which confidentiality agreements, and how should we share that data with.
Thanks, Kim. That's where Snowflake and IGT partnership came into play.
Yes. And I think that what I can say is that not only did IGT bring all of the domain expertise and also the fact that they were very willing to understand that we didn't know all our requirements up front, and it was going to be a journey and it was an evolution, and we're glad that we got to where we got to today, because I don't think it was an easy feat also for us, because as I said, the whole premise around it was outsourced before. So now we insourced all of it. We own the IP, we own the data, and everything we can do obviously allows us to do it with a lot more flexibility. Then Snowflake obviously gave us a platform that key to our principle of security was one of the main reasons why we chose Snowflake. We're very happy that it worked out in the way that it did. I'm not going to lie and say it was easy in the beginning, but it took efforts on all fronts from the Snowflake team as well as from IGT to work with IATA and then also with our customers. Very much was built on the premise that we understand our customers' needs. We adapt to those customer needs because depending on what airline, where the airline is located, there are different needs.
That's good to know, Kim. Thanks ever so much. Let's bring Snowflake into the discussion. Whitney, as the head of travel vertical in Snowflake, you've worked with many travel and airline clients, customers. What makes this IATA use case so unique?
Thanks, Carl. What excites us about NextGen DDS is how it embodies the vision of data as a product, how it delivers insights, and how it is able to safely and securely address the needs of the variety of customers, right, that IATA is serving. IATA isn't just storing and reporting data. They're enabling thousands of users to act on it securely and at scale. Snowflake's architecture, decoupling compute and storage, the fine-grained row-level security, the data sharing across tenants, all of this makes it feasible. But more importantly, we saw a cultural shift. IATA became a key data service provider to the entire aviation ecosystem, or I should say, really, they were able to further cement their place as a key data service provider to the entire system. This is a really great blueprint for other travel companies as well, who are looking to treat their data as an asset, to leverage modern platforms, deliver embedded intelligence to their partners, and know that it is safe and secure and has the level of management that they need and access control that they need to do this at scale.
Thanks, Whitney. That's awesome. So what are some of the broader trends you are seeing in travel around data platform usage?
That's a great question. And we are seeing some really exciting things. We're seeing travel brands unifying customer and operational data to drive personalization, optimize capacity, and mitigate disruption. We're seeing travel brands not only unifying that customer and operational data, but also enriching with third-party data to drive deeper personalization. Platforms like Snowflake help break down the silos so decisions are made faster, right, when you unify this data. And now with Gen AI, there's a huge momentum to democratize analytics through natural language interfaces.
Love, over to you. Let's dig into how you structure DDS. How did you approach points that Whitney mentioned in terms of security, multi-tenancy, and performance?
DDS was a really a challenging project, and not because the volume of the data, but it's all about how the data need to be presented and how the data slices need to be made available to the businesses, because it entailed a really complex security layered architecture that had to be followed. So security was a very vital for DDS. This entire construct of DDS is designed on the principle of give to get. So it really required a layered architectural approach that we had to build in using Snowflake to essentially deliver on security. So what we did to address this, we kind of created a really metadata driven entitlement framework. So essentially what it essentially means is, so we can configure and we can deliver security at scale based on the customizable configuration that ITA can offer to its set of users and customers. And that has really given the level of comfort to the end user, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with live data of our customers. So that was something, that is how we really approached security. In terms of multi-tenancy, the way we have architected the solution, it's essentially entire data sets reside into a unified structure. But there is logical segregation, there is separation, and there is isolation from the security layer that we have essentially introduced. So it is in a way multi-tenant, but yet defined within the boundaries of one singular infrastructure, essentially. And to deliver the performance, we leveraged the various we kind of leverage the the possibilities of segregating the storage with the compute, because massively we had to process data, and a lot of time when you incrementally load this data in DDS, you have to ensure that you recalculate or refresh your aggregated data points so that they make sense with the newer set of incremental data that you receive.
How big exactly is the DDS platform?
So at any given day, we are processing anywhere between 7 million to 14, 15 million new passengers or new tickets a day, because DDS is at the end of the day ticketing data sets. So we receive data from all the carriers. We by and large load the entire indirect data every day, and we process it. So that's an incremental data that gets processed. In total, roughly about 100 plus terabytes that is compressed, that is available live, actioned every day, sort of queried by the end users. You can imagine about anywhere between north of 1 to 3 billion passengers annually, and obviously this number is increasing once we were out of COVID. At any given good day, you will see utilizations going all the way upward to 5,000 plus queries that are simultaneously accessed across the globe. So TDS is by and large used by across the globe user bases.
Thanks, Love. It looks like from what you said, this is one of the largest data marketplace in the travel industry today.
Yeah.
Coming back to Kim. Kim, looking forward, where do you see DDS going next? It's already large, it's scalable, it's massive, and it serves the majority of the airlines in the industry today. But what next?
Where we see it going is, and it's a good problem to have, is that the more that the industry transforms, the more that it goes to offers and orders, the more that airlines are moving away from legacy based systems into more where they're trying to be more modern and scalable, the more that data set is going to change. And where we need to be on top of that is looking at DDS and saying, okay, well, what next? How do we then manage when it does move away? And as airlines move away, there'll be this need to work in combo, because not all airlines are going to move to a new offer and order straight away. There'll be some that go and some that don't. And how do you manage this landscape where some are utilizing ticketing and others are not, because passengers travel all over using multiple airlines. And so for us, we see that there's an evolution of where the platform can go, and that's certainly something that we're keeping on top of. But I think also beyond the ticketing is also the richness around adding more data sets to DDS. So our airlines and our customers are asking us to, maybe look at DDS and maybe incorporate some other maybe third-party data sets into the mix. So we are looking at that more exponentially. I'll let Whitney talk about the Gen AI aspects of it, but obviously there's a lot of excitement around this data set, and particularly because of all the investment and the time that we've spent around the quality. And you can imagine, as Love was talking about, all of those massive files and the testing to make sure that what we are presenting back to the airline is actually valid to them took a lot of time, because obviously the data comes in different standards and different formats, and we needed to make sure that people can trust the data. So not only trusting us as an organization, but also trusting the data. And there's a lot of investment, and it showcase how that can really be used to the next level.
That's great. Thanks, Kim. Let's move back to Whitney, and Love after Whitney, you're next. Whitney, you mentioned when you were speaking earlier about Gen AI and data. Question is, how can Gen AI reshape the user experience?
Gen AI is fully changing what the user experience can be. And I just want to go back to something that Kim said and recognize the amount of work that has gone into creating this very robust, clean, hygienic, safe, and secure data set, because that's where it starts, right? Gen AI doesn't happen without all of the work that goes into creating this very impactful data set like we see in DDS. But once you have a data set that is set up in this way, you can really start to allow your end users to gain insights that they can turn into action quickly. Like imagine a route planner saying, tell me the top 5 underserved city pairs from last quarter, and getting that answer instantly. Or looking into routes and saying, which route had the biggest drop in load factor after the promo ended, and getting that instantly, even with context. Or being able to look and say, what was the impact of this runway closure on our arrival bank, right? These types of questions being able to be answered instantly are going to allow the end user to put a lot more time and energy into driving action, right? Rather than kind of researching the insights. It only happens though when you do have that very safe, secure, hygienic data set to access. Some other interesting things that we're seeing are Gen AI agents detecting anomalies, auto-summarizing trends, or simulating price scenarios. Snowflake is really actively enabling these types of integrations through LLM-powered apps that sit on top of, again, this structured and clean data.
Thanks, Whitney. Love, what is your view?
Yeah, I mean, Gen AI is definitely disrupting all the industries, but travel and hospitality industry as a whole is massively going to get disrupted, and we see that consumer behavior, consumer interactions are going to get changed dramatically, and so we are very cognizant of the fact. That's why we have started investing into a platform called TechBud.ai as an IGT. As you know, Carl, this is the platform that we have developed. With sole objective of making generative AI commercially viable and enterprise-ready solutions. Now, coming back to DDS and how it can potentially be leveraged, there is enormous opportunity that is at hand, and obviously this has to be discussed and in a wider forum. But on top of my head, you can look at generative AI getting as Whitney was saying, that a route planner is essentially asking a query, and directly that query is getting answered on the data sets that is available on the DDS. So it's a user query to prompt to SQL query and to back to analytics.
Thanks, Love.